Hi, I'm Emma Bond and I'm an account director here at Something Big. And today I'm going to talk to you about women's health. But more importantly, I'd like to shine a special spotlight on the topic of menopause. Now, you're probably thinking, what is a 30-something doing talking about the menopause when it's quite clear I haven't gone through that yet? And you're right, I haven't. But because of that, even more so, I feel personally passionate about talking about the topic, because it's something that as we start to talk about it more and as we kind of create this less of a taboo that there still is around it, we're opening up the conversation and we're creating a culture where people feel that they can talk about those maybe awkward topics that for whatever reason 80 years ago, people were apparently locked up in a loony bin for showing symptoms of. So this is why I'd like to start talking about it now. And a lot of organisations are already talking about it and making those small changes that they need to make to actually start seeing positive results from their employees. And, you know, let's not wait until our mid-50s to start addressing it, because we have seen through various amounts of research that if people feel supported and they're having those conversations with their leaders and their managers and their colleagues and friends and family, that actually by the time they go through it, the severity of their symptoms aren't actually likely to be as bad, because emotionally, mentally, physically, we feel supported. Did you know that 3 out of 4 women will experience menopausal symptoms in their lifetime? Which is mad, because that's a really large number and it's still considered a taboo topic. So 51% of the population will go through it, but actually in fact 100% of us will experience it in one way or another. Whether that be through families, friends, colleagues, it does actually impact us all. So there are actually in fact 34 main symptoms of menopause, ranging from heart palpitations, insomnia, incontinence, anxiety, depression. There are some really nasty ones, and actually it's sad to hear that sometimes women still feel like this is a bit of a punchline. PMS, hormones. You don't need to be an expert when it comes to menopause. You don't need to understand how HRT works, but you do need to understand actually how you can support your colleagues that are going through this emotional time. And they maybe aren't sleeping at home and they're coming into work and they're having to perform and they're experiencing hot flushes and mood swings, and they have no control over it, and they're also living and dealing with that. How is this affecting my career? How is this affecting how people are perceiving me personally at work? A lot of senior leaders, we're finding, are actually in these roles where it's around 50s onwards. We have more women who are working a lot longer than previously years ago. We have people that are retiring later, people that are having children a lot later, and they're also having less children. They are, they're growing their families, but actually due to careers or life changes, whatever it is, they're happening a lot later. And also that means they're going to go into perimenopause a lot earlier. So actually 8 out of 10 women in the workforce are going through menopause. That's a big number. And sadly, 1 in 10 women consider leaving their roles due to menopausal symptoms, because they can't emotionally, mentally, physically deal with it. And sadly, 1 in 10 actually do. They actually leave because of this. Fortunately, we can see that the taboo is shifting, and you have celebrities, people on social media that in their mid-40s, 50s are openly talking about the topic, and they're embracing it, and they're saying, I'm going through this, it's absolutely rubbish. The kind of rise in podcasts as well. People are able to connect both on a kind of tech level and a personal level, and they're bringing that into the workforce. Organisations are also embracing the same kind of ethos. And actually, as I mentioned earlier, if we are creating that culture where people aren't as embarrassed and they are openly talking about it, encouraging line managers and any form of people manager or just general colleague to talk about it and feel that they have the right support to have those conversations, then hopefully we're creating a workplace where the younger generations feel comfortable to come up and go, do you know what, I actually can see myself working there because my work-life balance is more likely to feel aligned. So I'm actually one of 5 girls, for those that don't know. I come from a really heavily female family, and what comes along with that? A lot of hormones and a lot of experience and natural kind of transitional phases as we go through life. And so from working with various colleagues, friends, family that have gone through it, I understand how much support you maybe need at work to get through it. And providing kind of support in the sense of making things more flexible. So post-COVID, post-pandemic, we're in a place now where we're flexibly working. We're working at home a lot more. We have more trust, I'd say, within organisations. And as part of that, communication channels have definitely opened. And what we really are seeing and kind of want to carry on seeing is that people are feeling they can be a lot more honest. And because we're talking about the topic, we're less likely to see people putting other, or sometimes people putting depression and anxiety on sick notes when actually it's to do with their menopause. They're going through these things that they're just not feeling comfortable to actually disclose. And again, we want to create this world and this environment where people are feeling more flexible and are feeling like they can go to the GP and they can actually go, look, I'm going because of this. I'm not making up some fake story. And we're being more authentic and we're being our true selves. So what are some of the things that we can do to, 1, normalise the conversation, and 2, create an environment where people feel they can be their true selves? So 1, we need to make the topic menopause less of a taboo. And how do we do that? So we provide managers and leaders with the assets and tools that they need that make them feel comfortable, make it less awkward. Make them feel like they can sit down and they can have a conversation. Again, they don't need to be HRT experts. They don't need to know the ins and outs of every symptom, but they do need to understand kind of basic policies, basic procedures, how it can work. You know, it's actually in theory no different to maternity, right? Lady has a baby, a lady has various GP appointments. They have time off, they have the baby, they return, they need their support in transitioning back into the workplace. Actually, really, it's not that different. We need to be providing people with the support that they need, should they feel like they need educating a little bit more on the subject and don't know who to speak to if they're not feeling confident to go and have a meeting with their GP. Desk fans, you know, they're small things that actually, if you're going through hot flushes and you're going through all these various different symptoms that are related to it, just having a little desk fan on your desk will just make you feel so much better. And it's a small thing that actually the organisation has thought about in providing support. Menopausal socials. So that's a thing that we've found works really well. You know, organisations are providing them with networks of support where they can be psychologically safe and they can liaise with other like-minded people and people that are going through the same thing at the same time. And it's something that just having that makes them feel like they can bring themselves to work and just feel that they are able to then professionally work through that process. And just bring this hidden subject out into the open. Don't make it awkward. Let's talk about it. No one likes to say the word period. No one likes to say the word menopause. And hopefully the more we talk about it, the less awkward it will become. So who's getting it right? So we're seeing some big brands such as HSBC, Next, Aviva, and many more. They've all started to make these important changes within their organisations, and they're really reaping the rewards. They are seeing colleagues want to be part of their organisations. They're seeing that through the small changes they're making, that people are actually feeling mentally and physically better, and actually it's helping with that transitional process. They've implemented different things, varying from training for managers, different uniforms to accommodate the different heat restrictions that women may be experiencing, flexible working, desk fans, and more. There are many more changes that obviously they need to keep making, but slowly the more and more we're talking about this, we're starting to see that taboo subject, we're really breaking it down. And let's be honest, throughout our lifetimes, we're all going to deal with one health condition. Touch wood, hopefully not many, but it's something we're all going to have to go through, and we want to be supported. We're at work 80% of our lives. Most of the time we are here. And why would we want to create an environment where we don't feel like we can openly be ourselves and be supported? And hopefully as a result of that, like I mentioned earlier, you're less likely to go through extreme symptoms than if you were to openly feel comfortable that that transformational phase of your life is going to be supported. Good employers already know this, and we're starting to see that these brands and through brands we work with are putting out great communications to help support this transition. Now, let's make sure that together we are not pushing out that younger workforce. Let's create that world where they're wanting to come in and actually they can be their true selves and they can absolutely smash it in the roles that they're going into, not feeling like they're going to have to worry about these personal issues on the side. And it's not going to stop women from going for that promotion or going for that really kind of high senior leader role because they fear that actually their sanity is going to be questioned because of the symptoms that they're experiencing. It's taken us a long time to get to the level of equity that we've seen today. And I think let's not make senior leaders, women of all ages, fall at that last hurdle when we're so close to getting it right. And if we address this now, and we're laying the path for the next round of 30-somethings when it's their turn, then job well done. We're going to hopefully have a lot of happy, fulfilled colleagues.